Hi, I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to read you the story of Kaylee's, which is titled like this. When I got the flu, my family locked me in a room so I wouldn't infect my sister's kids. Then they left for a party, saying, "Have fun being alone." When they returned, I was gone. The note on the table read, "Hope you had fun without me." So here's the thing about being 24 and still living with your parents. It wasn't supposed to be permanent. When I graduated college last year, I had this whole plan mapped out. Save up for a few months, find a decent apartment near my job, and finally start my adult life. But you know how parents can be, right, Kaylee's? "Honey, we really need your help with the mortgage," Mom said one evening, while I was scrolling through apartment listings on my laptop. "Your father's only working part-time at the hardware store since his back surgery, and my hours at the clinic got cut again." Dad nodded from his recliner, looking genuinely stressed. "We're not asking you to stay forever, just until we get back on our feet." And like a fool, I agreed. I mean, they're my parents. They raised me, helped me through college, and now they needed support. What kind of daughter would I be if I just walked away? So I stayed. Every month, I handed over $1,500 for the mortgage and utilities. That's more than half my take-home pay, but I told myself it was okay. I figured I was still saving money compared to renting my own place, plus I was helping family. Win-win, right? Wrong. See, I have an older sister named Claire. She's 30, married to a guy named Dave, and they have 2 kids, Emma, who's 7, and little Jake, 4. They live in some fancy rental across town, and every single Saturday, without fail, they show up at Mom and Dad's house. And that's when the pattern begins. Mom immediately drops whatever she's doing to fuss over Claire and the kids. "Oh, I made your favorite lasagna yesterday," she'll say, or, "I picked up those cookies Jake loves from the bakery." Meanwhile, I'm standing there thinking how Mom hasn't made my favorite anything in months. Just last week, I mentioned craving her chicken and dumplings. "That takes too long to make," she waved me off. But for Claire, she'll spend hours in the kitchen. "Tessa, can you watch the kids while Claire and I go shopping?" Mom asks every single time. So there I am, stuck babysitting Emma and Jake while they go out for their little shopping trips. The kids run around, scream, and make messes while I try to stop them from destroying the place. When they get back, Claire barely even looks at her kids. "Thanks, sis. You're the best babysitter ever," she laughs. The worst part? I never volunteered to be the babysitter, but somehow that just became my role, and nobody questioned it. The money thing eats at me too. I work full-time at an accounting firm downtown. I live frugally. Generic groceries, no new clothes for months, driving a 10-year-old Honda because I can't afford payments. But Claire and Dave, always bragging about their weekend getaways and dinner reservations. "We're thinking of getting granite countertops," Claire mentioned casually, while Mom served her homemade chocolate cake. I wanted to scream. Granite countertops? I'm the one keeping our parents from foreclosure. I had around $20,000 saved up. I could leave if I wanted. But every time I thought about it, I pictured Mom's anxious face when the mortgage was due. Then everything changed. One of my colleagues, Mark, got the flu. At first it seemed minor, but then he had complications. His fever spiked, and he ended up in the hospital with pneumonia. It was terrifying. I checked on him a couple of times. "Thanks for calling, Kaylee's," he rasped. "This thing hit me hard." That was Wednesday. By Friday, I started feeling off. Tired, scratchy throat, aching bones. Saturday morning, I woke up feeling awful. I called my boss immediately. "Hey, Mr. Peterson, I think I caught what Mark had. I'm feeling terrible." "Oh no, stay home right away," he said. "We can't risk anyone else getting sick. Let me know if you need anything." At least he cared. I put on a mask and went downstairs. "I'm sick," I announced. "Pretty sure it's the flu. I'll stay in my room, wear a mask, and keep everything sanitized." Mom looked up from her coffee with irritation. "Great. Now you're going to infect all of us." "I'll wash my hands constantly and isolate in my room." Dad just shook his head, annoyed. "Could you pick up some antiviral meds for me when you go out today?" I asked. Mom let out a heavy sigh. "You cost us nothing but money," she mumbled. Feeling too weak to argue, I went back to bed. Later, she brought medicine to my room, tossing the bag at me like I'd asked her to carry bricks. "Can you ask Claire not to bring the kids tomorrow? I don't want them catching this," I added. Mom stared at me like I'd just insulted her. "It's Saturday. It's family day." Sure enough, Saturday morning came, and Claire and the kids arrived like clockwork. I heard Claire's shriek from downstairs. "She has what? The flu? Are you serious?" Mom tried to calm her down. She's staying in her room. It'll be fine. No, it's not fine, Claire screamed. She could kill my children. She better not step foot out of that room. Then came the sound of footsteps, a click at my door. I got up. It wouldn't budge. Mom, I called out. Did you just lock my door? It's safer this way, she yelled through the door. What about the bathroom? You'll have to hold it, she snapped. I stood there stunned. They had literally locked me in. The rest of the day, I lay in bed while the sounds of laughter, footsteps, and food filled the house below. I could smell something delicious cooking, probably Claire's favorite pot roast. And me? I was upstairs, aching, starving, and desperate to pee. At 5 p.m., I heard the lock turn. Mom opened the door like I was the one who'd ruined everything. Because of you, we couldn't go shopping. Claire had to leave early. Not a single word about how I was doing. When I came out of the bathroom, no one even looked at me. Claire was putting on her coat. Now I have to hire a babysitter next weekend. Great! Mom patted her arm. We'll figure something out. That night, I sat on my bed in disbelief. They locked me in my room, and when they let me out, they acted like I had ruined their day. I opened my laptop and searched for apartments again. But this time, I wasn't just browsing. I was done. A studio for $900. A one-bedroom for $1,200. I started making calls. Hi, I saw your listing. Is it still available? Yes. When can I see it? Tomorrow. I booked 3 viewings for the week. I was finally doing this. By the end of that day, I wasn't sad. I was angry, and that anger felt like freedom. The next few days were strange. I stayed in my room as much as I could, only creeping out when I was sure no one else was in the kitchen. I still felt awful, achy, tired, drained, but not as bad as before. Mom didn't cook anything separate for me. When I asked if she could make some plain rice, she rolled her eyes and said, I'm not running a restaurant here. You can take care of yourself, right? Because apparently asking your sick daughter to make herself a meal while locked in her room was just reasonable. I didn't go to work on Monday, even though I felt a little better. I figured I'd take one more day just to be safe, and it gave me time to look at the apartments. The first one was all right, but kind of dark and depressing. The second had a weird smell I couldn't place. But the third one, the $900 studio, was clean, bright, and in a safe neighborhood. The landlord, Mr. Chen, was kind. I can have the lease ready by tomorrow if you're interested, he said. I'm very interested, I told him. By Tuesday night, I was almost fully recovered. I still wore a mask around the house, just in case, but my strength was coming back. I was even thinking about going to work the next day. That evening, Mom and Dad were getting dressed up. Where are you guys headed? I asked from the bottom of the stairs. Oh, Claire got promoted, Mom beamed. We're all going to celebrate at that fancy steakhouse downtown. That's great news, I said. Congrats to her. Dad nodded, tying his shoes. Yeah, she's moving up to senior manager. Huge raise. I felt a little pang. Nobody had thought to tell me earlier, but fine, whatever. Then Claire walked in the front door and immediately wrinkled her nose at me. You're still wearing that mask? She scoffed. When are you going to stop being contagious? The flu's gone. I'm just being careful, I replied. Well, because of you, I had to hire a babysitter for Emma and Jake. That cost me $200, she huffed. I had no one else to leave them with. Before I could even respond, she stormed upstairs. Mom and Dad were chatting about the restaurant, about how Dave's entire family would be joining. It's going to be quite the party, Mom said, smiling. Then Claire came back downstairs holding something. She walked right up to me and waved it in my face. It was my bank card. What the hell? I said, reaching for it. She pulled it back. I'm going to use this to pay for dinner tonight, she said casually. I froze. Excuse me? That's my card. You took it from my purse. Relax, she rolled her eyes. It's just one dinner. You don't need all that money anyway. Mom nodded in agreement. She's right. You don't have kids to support. Claire does. You can spare it. I stood there stunned. You can't just take my card. That's stealing. It's not stealing, Claire laughed. We're family. After the trouble you caused with your flu, the least you can do is help cover dinner. The trouble I caused. I got sick. I didn't do it on purpose, but they were already walking out the door. Don't wait up, Dad called. Have fun being alone, Mom added with a little smirk. And then they were gone. They left me standing there. My sister had my bank card in her purse, and they were off to celebrate without me. I didn't move for 5 whole minutes. I just stood in the living room trying to process it. My own family had stolen from me. That's what it was. That's when something inside me broke. I went upstairs, pulled out my phone, and opened my banking app. First, I blocked the card. Then I canceled the $1,500 auto payment to Mom. If they were going to steal from me, they could figure out the mortgage on their own. Next, I pulled out 2 suitcases and began packing. I didn't have much. Clothes, books, my laptop, some personal things. It all fit easily. I loaded the suitcases into my car along with the rest of the flu medicine and a few snacks. Then I returned to the kitchen, sat down at the table, and wrote a note. I'm leaving. I won't be living here anymore, and I won't be paying the mortgage either. Hope you had fun at dinner without me. I left it on the counter where they'd see it. Then I walked out the door. The nearest hotel was too pricey for a long stay, but I found a small hostel 20 minutes away. They had private rooms, and the guy at the front desk was friendly. Just something for a few days while I figure things out, I told him. No problem. We get a lot of people in transition. Take your time. I settled into the tiny but clean room and turned off my phone. I knew the moment they realized the card didn't work, they'd blow up my messages. But I didn't want to hear it. Not tonight. I took the longest, hottest shower I'd had in weeks. Then I ordered Chinese takeout and watched Netflix on my laptop. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt peace. No one asking for money, no one dumping their kids on me, no one making me feel like a burden. I was alone, but I wasn't lonely. There's a difference. When I went to bed, I didn't dream about unpaid bills or sick days or guilt. I dreamed about my new apartment, about peace. The next morning, I woke up healthy for the first time in days. I turned my phone on. 47 missed calls, countless texts. Most were from Mom. Your card isn't working. What did you do? Call me now. Where are you? Your room is empty. How could you do this to us? Come home immediately. Claire had left her own gems. You ruined my celebration dinner. I can't believe you would embarrass me in front of Dave's family. You're being a selfish brat. Dad's were shorter, but no better. Come home now. We need to talk. I deleted them all. I wasn't ready to deal with it. I put on my mask and headed out to see the apartments. The studio was still my favorite. Bright, clean, private. Mr. Chen was waiting with the lease. You still want it? He asked. Definitely. I can pay the deposit and 3 months up front. His eyes lit up. Perfect. When do you want to move in? Today, if that's possible. Within 2 hours, the lease was signed, and I had my keys. My keys. My apartment. I went back to the hostel, grabbed my stuff, and moved in that very same day. It was perfect. I could put things wherever I wanted, eat when I wanted, watch TV as loud as I wanted. My phone buzzed endlessly that week, but I ignored every call. On Friday, I returned to work. Feeling better, Kaylee's? Mr. Peterson asked. Much better, thanks. Don't apologize for the time off. You did the right thing. At lunch, I went to the bank and requested a new card, reporting the old one as lost. That weekend, I truly began my new life. I made simple meals, watched what I wanted, went to sleep when I wanted. Heaven. Monday evening, I was walking toward my car in the office parking lot when I saw them, Mom and Dad, standing right next to my Honda like they had every right to be there. My heart immediately started pounding, but I kept walking, keeping my face calm. We need to talk, Dad said before I could even reach them. Mom's eyes were red like she'd been crying. Kaylee's, honey, she started, her voice trembling. We know we made mistakes. Mistakes? I said, stopping a few feet away. You locked me in my room like a prisoner, then you stole my bank card. Those aren't mistakes. That's abuse. We were just trying to keep everyone safe, Mom said quickly. And the card. Claire was just excited about her promotion. We didn't think... No, I cut her off. You didn't think about me. You never do. Mom reached into her purse and pulled out my old bank card. Here, she said softly. Take it back. We're sorry. I laughed, dry and bitter. That card doesn't work anymore. I blocked it and ordered a new one the night you stole it. Dad stepped forward. Please, come home. We can work this out. I'm not coming home, I said, clear and firm. I have my own apartment now. I'm done being your personal ATM and unpaid babysitter. But the mortgage, Mom started. Not my problem anymore. They both started talking at once, overlapping excuses and promises, but I didn't care. I walked past them, unlocked my car, and drove away. That was the last time I saw them in person. The next evening, I went to Target, bought new sheets, a couple of plants, a coffee maker, a dish rack, little things that made my studio feel more like a home. Wednesday morning, I blocked their numbers, all of them. Then I went through social media and blocked them there too. Facebook, Instagram, anywhere they could message me. I didn't want to leave any cracks open. I was done. And for 3 full months, there was silence. Beautiful, peaceful silence. No begging texts, no last-minute calls asking me to babysit. No one knocking on my door at 7 a.m. asking why their automatic payment didn't go through. I got promoted at work, my first real promotion. I celebrated with a few friends from the office at a nice restaurant. We laughed, shared dessert, and I paid for my own meal with my own money. And it felt incredible. A couple of weeks later, I heard from my cousin Lisa. "Your mom and dad had to start working full-time again," she said. "Apparently, it was a huge shock to realize how much they depended on your monthly payments." I felt nothing. No guilt, no pity, just peace. They made their choices, and now they had to live with the consequences. Then last week I got an email from Claire. A long, rambling message full of dramatic apologies. She said she'd been selfish, that she never appreciated everything I did, that she wanted to meet for lunch and talk things through. I read the whole thing. Then I rolled my eyes and deleted it. Maybe one day I'll feel ready to talk again. Maybe they'll genuinely change and start treating me like a human being. But I'm not holding my breath. Right now, I'm happy in my cozy studio apartment. I come and go when I please. I spend my money on things I care about. I don't answer to anyone, and I don't have to deal with anyone's drama unless I choose to. For the first time in my life, I'm living for me, and it feels amazing. I'm not their emergency fund anymore. I'm not their built-in babysitter. I'm just Kaylee's, 25 years old, living life on my own terms. And that's exactly the way I want it.